Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today, in deck number 552, we're going to talk about Kunoros, the Hound of Athreos. Now, I'll be honest with you. The reason why that this one is toward the end of the batch is because I just didn't know what I was going to do with it. So let's read the three-headed Cerberus of the underworld. For a white, a colorless, and a black, we get a 3/3 Vigilance Menace lifelink, which is outstanding. It's a Hound. Creature cards in graveyards can't enter the battlefield. Okay. Players can't cast spells from graveyards. So this is no reanimation, no flashback type things, or, breach stuff, wheel stuff. And I had thought about many different things. I had thought about tribal hounds, but let's face it, in black and in white, there's not a lot, and it would be substantially subpar. More subpar than my normal decks are. Anyway, so I decided to try to focus in on the abilities here, and like every ability he's got. So we have a 3/3 for 3 commander that's Vigilance and Menace and Lifelink. So we're going to gain some life. It's hard to block, and he's still a good blocker. Now, the creatures can't, so we are playing black and white, the good reanimation color. So I had to steer clear of that, and no flashback spells or things like that. So I know that there's a popular way to build. Well, I say popular. I would imagine this is one of those decks that I never checked EDH rec on, so I have no clue what the people out there in the world have been doing. But the word "can't" stuck out to me, so I was like, well, rule of law. We are playing black and white, and we have, a substantial amount of instance. And then dampening matrix. Now, we are running some mana rocks, but that's about it. Let's see. Then I was like, well, if the graveyards are useless, then why even have them? So I'm running Morning Tide to just exile all graveyards. Kind of the same way Rest in Peace does a little similar. Now, Identity Crisis just hoses one person. Remove their hand and graveyard from the game. Ouch. Now, I have never seen this resolve in a game of Commander, and it's very possibly, a deal breaker. Necromancer's Covenant is another one. The wording here is very, very specific, and I really like it. When the Covenant comes into play, you exile all creatures in target player's graveyard. Then you get a zombie for each one so you exile their creatures and you get the zombies. And then your zombies have lifelink, which is cool. Running the Eidolon of Obstruction. I'll be honest with you, I'm running it in here because I got it. And it makes your opponent's planeswalkers a little more difficult. And that right there is kind of where I hate to use the term stacksy stuff, but that's where that ends. So what I wanted to do is kind of just abuse one thing. And that would be our life total, Vincer's Journal. As we go through here, you will see various different things on life total. So first, let's start with our mana fixing. We have, all the Orzhov rocks. Well, not all of them, I don't think. We have the Clue Stone, or the Locket, the Signet, Star Compass, Altar of Pantheon, Spectral Searchlight, Dark Ritual, and got a Smothering Tithe from one of those, what was it? Was that the Brawl decks that had those, I think? Anyway, pull an extra copy of Smothering Tide. This seemed like the deck to actually put it in. Now, for draw power, Painful Lesson, Underworld Connections, just because of the reusability. Yes, it does occupy a land every turn, but it is what it is. It's reusable. Skeletal Scrying. Now, Moonlight Bargain, rather. You look at the top 5. Yeah, if you want all 5, you can just pay 10 life, and here again, most times that's a little more than you'd be willing to pay, but in life gain, probably not so much. So, Promise of Power. Draw 5 and lose 5 for 5. I am down with that all day. Now, I am trying this out, which is incredibly risky. The Treacherous Blessing. Hey, it's 3 mana, draw 3 cards. But every time you cast a spell, you lose a life. Now, when it becomes the target of a spell or an ability, you sack it. So, that last line, I believe it was put on there so we can't bounce it and recast it a bunch. That's why I believe it's on there. It's kind of a protection from EDH players. But what I am wanting to do with it is stuff like Final Payment and just sack it to destroy target creature. Shall we get to the removal? I mean, we have got removal. We're in the removal colors, right? So, we're going to roll through these quick. Murder, Mortify, Dark Banishing, Chainer's Edict. Because the logic here is, behind all the removal that I used is, I don't have a lot of creatures. So I don't want there to be a lot of creatures. I want mine to be more or less unopposed. So I want to kill things. Divine Offering, Disenchant, Terror, Cruel Edict, Despark, Diabolic Edict, Deathmark, Zealous Persecution. This is amazing against token decks. Demystify, Heliod's Intervention. Now, this is not bad, too. This is the perfect card for the deck because not only is it removal, if we don't need that, it is gain life. March of Souls, Day of Judgment, Faith's Fetters, and Kaya's Wrath. So that completes our removal. And running the spotlight just to make sure that we can hit these things. So I guess now let's look at our... Do we look at weird stuff or do we look at creatures? Sure, creatures, since there's not that many of them. Running Spike Cannibal, because this is a Wrath of Hydras, essentially. Yeah, it's... I find myself crutching on Spike Cannibal a lot. I need to stop running that for a little while. Spirit of the Hearth does a couple of things. It uses the can't word, which... Oh, okay. All 4 of my kids play Magic. And I really, really hope they don't find this particular video. I know that they're not avid Magic, YouTube watchers, but one thing that I raised them on is I raised my kids on can't is the worst word you can say. It's my daughter was literally in high school before she realized that can't wasn't a cuss word, because that's what I had her believing, because I didn't want to hear him say it. And my line was, we are Canadas, we're not Cantadas. Anyway, here again, the can't being kind of the theme of the deck. Hey, you can't do a thing. I don't really care for that as far as a play style, but that's why there's not any more in the deck. I want everybody to play and I want everybody to have fun. Anyway, but this just says you can't target me, so hey, that's not bad. Shriek Maw, yes, it's a creature. Hey, it's also removal. Vampire Nighthawk I have seen this card do work by doing nothing. Just sitting on the board, if you've ever had just a Vampire Nighthawk, people will look at it and steer the other direction with whatever their big nasty creature is. Because, I mean, flying and death touch, it can block and kill a lot, and people don't want that. Angel of Despair, another 1/8/7 creature on a 5/5 body, so that's not bad. Angel of Vitality, heck, if you play it on turn 3, you're there. You've got a 4/4 flyer for 3. I mean, that's not bad. Blood Baron of Viscopia. Well, pretty good. Now, we have to be careful with the Pro White and Pro Black. We've got a few enchantments in here, not a lot. But still, 30 more life. And an opponent has 10 or less life. So somebody's got to be almost dead, and you've got to still be pretty much not. To have a 10/10. Flyer, lifelink, double protection. Felidar Sovereign, it's a decent win condition, or alt win condition. The Divinity of the Pride. Here again, if you're at 25 or more, we're kind of abusing these cards that were printed for 60 card, 20 life Magic. I don't think we'll get any new cards like this. Now, these existing cards may be printed again, but I just don't think that we'll get anything like this anymore, since the dominance of our format is in their minds when they design cards. So 5 mana, 8/8 flying, lifelink. Most of the time, that's what it's going to be. I spoke about enchantments. These primarily are for our commander, actual Kunoros himself. So, because already has menace. So, kind of difficult to block. But this one, just flat out, Edge of the Divinity, is just going to give our commander +3/+3 on a permanent basis. Imagine a permanent giant growth. For 1 mana, that's pretty good. Now, the exact opposite of that, 3 mana for +1, but it does gain flying, lifelink, if we actually put it on something that doesn't have lifelink already. But flying, another evasion ability. Sarah's Embrace, giving it +2/+2 flying and vigilance. Good old-fashioned divine transformation. Now, this is one of my favorites from way, way back. I played this. There was nothing I loved more than playing a Sarah Angel, and then the next turn, before I attacked with it, slapping that divine transformation on there and 7ing. It's just, Now, you really don't want to get it blocked. +2/+2 and protection from creatures on Holy Mantle is kind of the way. Now, weird stuff. Death Grasp, kind of our drain life variant. It's creature or player, and you gain X life. It doesn't have the caveat that you have to play black mana for it like drain life does. So, Kaya, Bane of the Dead. It's just kind of another copy there that lets us target things that we normally wouldn't be able to target. Now, she does exile, and I guess it depends on the actual gameplay situation, whether or not we want to keep her alive, or for her static, or use that exile ability. Equal treatment. If y'all listen to or watch the EDH Recast, they just had their 100th episode. It's a great podcast. They went to video this year, and for their 100th, they actually had on Sheldon Menery, the man himself. And they do a section every week called Challenge the Stats. And this was Sheldon Menery's Challenge the Stats, equal treatment. And he makes valid points. If a source would deal 1 or more, it's an instant, 2 mana. If any source would deal 1 or more damage to a creature or player this turn, it deals 2 damage to that creature or player instead. Draw a card. Now, it's white and just drawing a card, replacing itself. That's got to be worth some amount of mana, right? And then our see, this is both beautiful offensively and defensively because okay, we've got big beater coming at us. We're going to die to commander damage, whatever. Well, it's going to deal more than 1 damage, so now it's only going to deal 2. I'm only going to take 2 damage from your giant 2020. Or just the reverse. If someone is attacking with just a boatload of 1/1 saprolings, elves, goblins, whatever, this doubles it up. Now, granted, it's not present in our deck. It's not like we're swinging, swarming the table with 1/1 tokens, but there's a lot of games that other players are, and that is okay. Y'all know I love to to interfere with combats that I'm not involved in, but it works. So let's move on. Phyresis, there again, we are, it's just another win condition. Cauldron Haze. Yeah, pretty much wrath protection. There are times when we are going to have our creatures and we need to wipe the board, or when somebody else is going to be scared of our creatures. So, give it a persist. But let's talk about our last non-land card, Remove Enchantments. Now, this is a novel here from Original Legends. How close can we get? Let's see if we can't get a better focus on this. So Remove Enchantments is a 1 white mana instant. So I will read it to you as printed in 1994. Remove all enchantments you own, remove all enchantments you control, and remove all enchantment cards played on all permanents you control. If this spell is cast during opponent's attack, also remove all enchantment cards played on attacking creature. All enchantments you own are returned to your hand. All other enchantments are destroyed. The reason why I picked this one up is simply because the last plane we visited now is Athreos. We are deep in enchantments. It's just, creature enchantments, enchantments that are creatures. These are all things that, and I have noticed a lot of, maybe not Voltron style Enchantress decks, but there's a lot of Enchantress decks rolling around. So Remove Enchantments is, bounces all yours. And also, another thing is this actually, it says permanents on all permanents you control. So it kind of deals with that in play but useless set of enchantments, lignify, stuff that just turns it into, because a lot of times they'll to lignify your commander or whatever. It's better than killing it because it doesn't go back to the command zone so we can recast it. It's just in play but useless. I felt like to remove enchantments, it kind of slots nicely in the deck. Okie dokie, so we got non-basic lands. This is pretty much the usual suspects. We have Evolving Wilds, Terramorphic Expanse, Caves of Koilos, Forsaken Sanctuary, Orzhov Guildgate, Scoured Barrens, Temple of Silence, Orzhov Basilica, Rogue's Passage, you know it, Cave of Temptation. I kind of like the Cave of Temptation. It's, here again, we can just throw counters on Kunoros. Sure, why not? Orzhov Church of Deals. I'm kind of not in love with this card, but there have been times where I have gone to untap my lands and them all been untapped. So, and part of me just hates to waste that mana, because if I didn't use it that turn, I wasted it. I wasted tempo, I wasted mana, I didn't. And yes, tapping 6 lands, target player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. That's not amazing. Uh, but the low cost of, it doesn't come into play tapped. It still gives you a colorless mana. Eh. And then our last land is Field of Ruin, because, there's some problem lands out there. But that is what I have got for Kunoros. It's kind of a different, I don't know, maybe kind of all over the place, but looking forward to playing it. Not gonna lie, it's gonna be hard to keep creatures on the board with that deck, right? So anyway, as you can tell, I moved the mic a little closer here. It definitely. Let's see if I can't get the focus a little better on the Brian. But let's kind of move this out so you can. Whoa, actually, that's an added benefit of that screen, isn't it? To to block some of the light before I get all that stuff moved. So let's go put Kunoros on the wall. Deck number 552. We have got 2 left. We have got 2 Theros Beyond Death decks left. So I will actually, our next set comes out in April, Ikoria, doesn't it? So that's a big thing. I always like to be able to get done with one set before the next set comes out so that I can actually have time to make ground up. To do some of those, the older legends that I haven't gotten done yet, which is especially going to be hard this year in 2020, the year of Commander. But so far, we are in March, and I've been able to keep up. Ikoria is going to be hard because I would imagine the regular standard set Ikoria, we're getting at the same time that we are getting Ikoria Commander, which is pretty much Commander 2020. And there's going to be 5 decks there. You got to figure there's 3 or 4 legends in each deck. So there's generally 20-ish new legends in a Commander set. Then whatever's in Ikoria. So I don't know if Ikoria is going to be light, but on legends because of it's coming out. I don't know. I'm anticipating, drinking from the fire hose, because apparently that's what I'm doing this year. But I love it. It's a ton of fun, especially fun to try to come up with stuff that I haven't done before. 553 decks. That's getting difficult to do, but I always look for the challenge. Anyway, I do appreciate y'all watching. Y'all let me know what you think. But right now, we're gonna shuffle and cut.